welcome to this tutorial. So today we'll be taking a look on how to build APIs using Laravel. So before we get started, I want you to check out this website because this video is actually sponsored by FFX Academy. FFX Academy is an online bootcamp where you can become a full stack developer in just 12 weeks. So just check out the link in the description, then you go through their website. So let's get started. What is an API? An API is popularly known as an application programming interface. And I know you won't dispute the fact that APIs are everywhere. So an API is a form of contract from a piece of software to another. So an API makes use of structured request and response. Note this is just an explanation of what an API is. I expected you to have a background knowledge on what an API is. So we'll move to REST. What is REST? REST is a representational state transfer. It is also an architectural style for designing networked applications. It relies on stateless client-server protocol, usually the hypertext transfer protocol, which is one of the popular protocols or the protocols that is being used in communication in the internet. So REST can also be used by virtually all programming languages, starting from PHP, JavaScript, like that. So we move to HTTP methods. So we have get method, the post method, the put or the patch method, then the delete. Note there are other methods than this, but these are the most popular and the ones we'll be taking into consideration for this tutorial. So when we say get request, this request is used to get a resource from the server, as the name implies. In other words, if you perform a get operation, it's just like a read operation. So most of us that are from the computer science background, we know what a read operation is. It's just for you to see. So you just send a get request to the server, so it responds. And don't forget, we said in the previous chats, we said an API makes use of structured request and response. So there is always a request, then there is always a response. So the server actually listens for a request and generates the appropriate response. So we'll get used to that very, very soon. So the post request, on the other hand, is used to create a new request or a new resource on the server. So as the name implies, post, we are posting to. So it is used to perform a create operation when we need to initiate or instantiate something new. So we have the put or the patch method. So these methods are used interchangeably. They actually used to update, they are used to update a resource on the server. So most of the times I actually use put, while some people use patch. So there's a slight difference between put and patch rather. So when you use put, you are actually updating the old resource on the server. Then when you use patch, patch is for partial updating. You use it for partial updating. So you get used to that when we start writing the codes. Then finally, the delete method. This request is used to delete a resource completely or temporarily from the server. So in other words, a delete request performs a delete operation. So having gone through all these methods, it is advisable you just understand these terminologies we just talked about now, because we'll be using them in the code next. So we have endpoints. So what is an endpoint? An endpoint is basically a URL, and the full meaning of a URL is Uniform Resource Locator. So it's a URL. So when we say www.webapp.com/users, so when we perform a get request to this endpoint or the other endpoint, it means we want to actually see all the users in the application. And on the other end, when we are saying user/1, so let's say we have different users in which all users are identified by their unique IDs. And let's say a user has an ID of 1, so we want to look up for that user. Then we now say https blah 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 /user/1. So we'll make use of the get request to read, to see something from the server. So I want to create a new request. As you know, I'll be using the post method in this place. So I will make a post request to this endpoint. So a post request to this endpoint will create a new user. So the new user is going to be creating will be part of the request. It will be in the part of the body I'll be sending to the endpoint. Don't worry, you soon get familiar with all these things. The put and patch tool is used to update. So let's say we have a user that has a profile and the profile needs to be updated. So you can see this endpoint, it works like that. So you delete, let's say you want to delete a user's account completely from the application, we can make use of that. So enough with the slide, let's get to code. So I would open up my VS Code right now. So I actually have an application, a Laravel application set up already. It's just a new application, nothing more, nothing less. So I will just open the application up. Sorry. Okay. The name of the application is Laravel, then API. Oops, not yet. So let me just make use of this place. Mm. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me just show all I have here. Okay, so this is the application right here, Laravel API. So I have another one here. So I'm here, so I can open this in VS Code. So I can just go ahead and close this up. Okay, thank you. I think I can close this. Fine. So we have application running. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our database. So I already have this in my database setup. So my database is Laravel API. Laravel API. So I think I'm just going to change this to Laravel. Let me just say API. Sorry for that. API, then Laravel. So we say API Laravel. So I'm just going to open this to create a new one, a new database, API Laravel. So where is it? API Laravel. So we're fine. So this is this. So we have API Laravel set up. So our database is connected to the application. So what the API we're actually going to be building for now is a blog post. So a post that has a post title and that just has a body. So that's what we'll be sticking to right now. So you can actually increase your level. So we just want to see that it is possible to build this. So I'll be opening my terminal now. So what I want to do is I want to make a post model. PHP and make model post. So generate a migration and a resourceful controller for that. So let's wait for it to get this thing done. Okay, so I have the model, I have my migration and controller. So quickly let's add on to the migration. Create, we call it post, right? So we have post. So one of the things we want to do is that we want to make sure it has a title, and the title will be string title. Sorry about that. So it's going to have a body. The body will be string also. So let's just leave that. So with this, I can run php at san migrate. So if I do this, so if I go to my database, this, okay, let me just refresh. Okay, fine. I have post, I have users. So one thing we're going to be doing first is this. So we'll go over, there's a file I want to show you. So I know we're very comfortable with this file, the web routes. So this is basically where we define all our routes and everything. So we won't be working with this file for now. We'll be working with the API routes file. So this is where we'll be defining all routes that is going to be built on the API. So first thing first, we have an application, a blog post application. So first of all, we want an endpoint at which we can get all the blog post. So we want to be able to fetch all the blog posts. So let's define a route. So let's define a route. So we're gonna call it /post. So it's going to be handled by the post controller, then at index. So the index method. So we're not going to name the route. We're not going to give it a name and all that. So let's go to the post controller. So we have the post controller. So in this index method, so what we want to do first is this. We want to return all the posts. So as you know that this will not be correct. So this is small. So what we're going to do is we open this and we say Laravel API.test. Oops. I don't know why this keeps doing that. Okay, so we say /posts. Let's go there. Oops, not found. Oh, API. We have to put API. So because we did this, so we are writing our route in the API file. So API is going to precede in the URL bar. So we have this. So this is giving us an empty, is returning empty. So for us to quickly do something, so let's add to this and let's just quickly add code something inside of this. So let's just say first post this is the first post body. So for this we're just going to do now. Oops, what did I just do? Okay, we're just going to do now. So do it here too. So I'm just gonna update. Oops. So we're fine. So if I refresh this, I have this. So you can guess as much as possible that we have something fine working. So this is not what we want to do, obviously. So let's return this in another way. Let's return this in another way. So let's return a response. As we said, API is based on a request and response. So let's return a JSON response. JSON response that takes data first as a key. And what are we returning? So first of all, we're going to do this. So we'll assign posts. We'll assign all the posts to a variable. So we can return the variable here. I believe this should be fine. So we have this, so it's fine. So if you check this, so there's a return statement, so it doesn't execute this. Look at the structure, the data structure. So it's kind of different. So we have this, then let's check back this again. So this is fine. So, and this is how we can build our APIs. So we are returning a JSON. So let's say we want to return another thing. So we can just say author. Okay, this API was built by myself. So I come here, then I have this. So this is very flexible, you can do this. But as well, we don't want to do this. So I'll be teaching you something. So we'll be making use of resource, PHP artisan make resource. So we'll be using resource. So let's make a blog resource. So we're making a blog resource here. So if you go into the resources folder in the app directory, so you'll see a blog here. So this is fine. This is a JSON resource. So we're going to be using this JSON resource here in this. So what did I call it? Blog? Oops, that's a mistake. So we're going to go ahead, delete that. I'll call it post. I wanted to write post. I don't know why I wrote blog. So we have post. So we're going to be using it here. Because I want to make use of my auto import. Yeah, so that's fine. So it's returning it as post. So I want to change it to post resource. So we have this. So instead of returning this way, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to return response. Oh, sorry, I'm not going to return response. I want to return a new post resource. Then the post. Yeah. So this is fine. So what if you want to customize as you did this? So if you go ahead to this post resource, so this is post resource here. So if you take a look at this post, that is what is being gotten here as the request. So basically what we're doing is just that we're returning everything. So I can go ahead and do this and say, okay, what do I want to return? I want to return, I just want to return, fine. I want to return the title. Let's just say I just want my endpoint to return the title. So I'll just say this, then title. Oops. Sorry. So let's check this out. So it says property title does not exist on this instance. So we don't have title. Okay. So instead of doing this, why not let's do request title? Okay, fine. So it's saying null. So let's try this. Okay. Oops. So this is my bad. So this is actually a JSON resource. So what we can do is this. We'll just come here, come down here, specify public function, create a function called width. So this one returns an array that says name blah. So let's check what this does. So post resource should be compatible with JSON resource with. So does with to taking request. Okay, fine. So this one should take in request, so I can specify this. So that's fine. So that's what I wanted to do in here. So we can as well have multiple. So it's the same. So let me just change it to author, maybe because of the same keys. Okay, author, then we have blah. So as much as you know, you can specify any other thing that ships with the normal response in which it returns. So so this is fine. So let's test this using Postman. HTTP. So we will not be using the browser for now. Again, we'll be using this. So we have API slash post. I'm making a get request to this. So we have this. So we will not be using the browser here because we can't use the browser to make post requests. So we'll be using this. So we have data, then we have blah 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 and everything. So this is fine. So let's say we have another data. Let's duplicate this and let's see. So for now we're still duplicating, we're still at coding values here. So let's say we have this, then let's resend, then we have to. And what if, so I was wondering if we could do something like this, paginate, then let's paginate in one. I don't know if this is going to work. So this is fine. So we have current page one, data is this, because we're paginating. So we have the first page, which is this. So if I click on this, the next page URL, it takes me and I do this, I get the second request. So I can do pagination with my APIs. I hope you understand that. So I can do send. So because I am paginating, I'm doing one request per page. So basically you just want to do 10. So and what we have currently is not up to 10. So we just have 1, 2, 10 listed. So when it gets to 10, it will span to another page. So as you can see that we don't have a next URL because it is not up to 10 yet. So we'll leave that and then just leave it as 5. Then we'll move on. So let's check how we can create. Let's look at how we can create a new resource. So instead of add coding. So let's come here. But before we create, I feel we should look up a single resource. So let's say we need a single post. Let's just say post, then we want the post. Yeah, so we can say post controller at show using the show method in this place. So we'll come to the show method. So this has been explicitly defined for us. So we this post that comes in here, so we already do this. So we already have the post. So I can just return post like this. Pretty fine. So this is not the basics of Laravel, so I believe you should know that. So I can just come here and say post -1. Though I promise we won't be using the browser, but I just want to make sure it works. So it returns the first post for me. So if I say ID2, it gives me the post of ID2. So if I say ID3, which is not found, it gives me this. Do you understand? So this is basically very fine. So for some people, you'll be wondering why it is 1. So what if I want to search using first post here and I do this? It should still give me the first post, right? So why is it's using the ID by default, as you would have guessed. So I wrote an article recently on that, how you can change the default in Laravel. So it's route model binding. So you can check in the description for the link to the article. It will be of a very great help to you. So as you, I can just come here, copy this. I hope this works. So instead of returning post like that, I return the single post like this. So I come here, let's check if it still works. So this still works. It gives me only that post. So if I come to 2, it gives me that same post alongside the name and the author. So this is very fine. So if I come here and I do post/1, it gives me this, right? Post/2, it gives me this. Then I come back, it gives me this. So this is very beautiful. So let's add to the database. So let's hit the post method. So this is pretty fine. So let's come here, let's just say we want to hit the /post method. So as you can guess, this is similar to this, but what will be making a difference is, 1, we are using a post method, and 2, we are hitting the store method. We are using the post method, HTTP post, but we are using the store method in the controller. So if I come to the controller here, I have store method. So the store method takes in the request. So basically, let's check if this works first. So I want to return request. So let's return the request. So when we come here, so when we do, let's copy this, we come in here. So for those of us that don't know how to use Postman to create, so you can use the opportunity to learn. So you pick the method here, post. So the endpoint is /post. So you go to the body tab here, then you come, you click on raw, you change the default to JSON, and you can come here and send the data. So we have title. So title is stored post. We have comma, then the body is, this is the third post. Oh, let's take this first. So let's send. So it gives us our data back. So we see we are hitting the method, which gives us the status. So okay, that says a standard response, as you can see, for HTTP request. So what we did is fine. So we want to go ahead and create this. So what we can do is this. We can just do post. We can just call post and do this. I say create, then request all. So this request all, we have access to all the requests like that. So we can just say request all. So once this is done, we can just return. So we want to return a normal response here, a response, a JSON response here. So you see, let's call the message records created. So you can come up with fancy, successfully. Well, this is just successfully. So this is fine. Oops. Did I do everything correctly? Response. Oh, fine. This should be fine. So record created successfully. So if I do this now, so we have an internal server error. So we said add title to fillable book. Oh. So what we forgot to do was this. If we go to the post model, oops, this is the wrong place. The post model, we forgot to do this. So because we are sure of what we're doing, we're going to set the guarded added equals to empty array. So this should solve the error. So let's send. So we see record created successfully. So if you come, where is my database? Sorry. So if I should refresh, I have the third post. That's fine, right? So so you can see how flexible this is. So we're returning a response after creating. So what if we want to validate? So I can do this. I create again. So third post enters. Let's check this. Third post enters. But I don't want third post to enter. Like I don't want to have the same. I don't want to have duplicate. I don't want to. I want to. How do I say that? I don't want duplicate records in my database. Fine. So I come. Okay, let's come here. So before creating, right? Before creating, let's say we want to validate the request. So we call on the validate method on the request. So we are validating the title. So we're saying the title one must be required. So you cannot pass. So we're talking about structured request and response. So this means whenever you hit this endpoint, so you must provide the title. It is required. So you can come here. So you can say it must contain at least a minimum of 4 characters. And okay, for you to make that, for you to make sure that it does not exist, you just make sure you add this unique on it. So we have title. So the body, all you have to do is just make sure the body is required. So this is how we do validation. We can just make sure that it has a minimum of 5 characters, and that's fine. So we have this. So if so, let's just assign it to data. Let's just assign everything to data. Then instead of creating request, or we'll say we'll create data. So if it hits any validation method, it goes back. So we say it hits this one, then it returns this response. So let's check that. So if we do this again, it doesn't go. So we have 500. So the error says validation rule unique, blah 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 blah. So we have validation rule unique requires at least one parameter to be this. So it gives us the unique. So it doesn't go to the database. So what if, so that's fine. So so what's the next thing we want to do now? So we've done showing all, showing a single, adding to the database. So let's say we want to update a record. So I have, so what do I mean? I have this. Oh, sorry, I have this fourth one. I want to change it to fourth post. Fourth post. Interesting. So let's do this. So we're going to use the put method and says slash post slash. So we're going to pass in the post again. We're going to pass in the post again. Then this will be update. Let's go to the controller and go to update. So we have the post here. So we're just going to call post and call upon the update method on it. So basically we're not doing validations here. So why I did this is just to show you that we can have validations and all that. So some people might be saying, okay, when we press the send button, so how can we, instead of having all these errors, how can we display a custom error in JSON? So we'll not be looking at that in this tutorial. So this tutorial just want us to cover, like, just want us to know how we can create APIs. So we know that these APIs are actually not authenticated. Anybody has access to it. At least we're not tokenizing, we're not using Sanctum or Passport or anything. So in subsequent versions we'll be doing that. but for now let's just stick with this. So just know we can validate in as much that we are not showing the person a custom response that this is. So we'll just get over that. So let's say okay, we have the post already, so we'll just call upon the update, then update with request on. And note, before you update, basically you would actually want to validate the request, but because of the sake of this tutorial, so we're just going to say okay, I want to put, so I am changing. So if I come to my API, so I have post, then this, so post number 4 in the database, I want to change it from whatever, I want to make it 4. I'll say this is the fourth. This is the fourth post. So I press send. So status 200. Okay, we were not returning any response. So we're going to return. Okay, so let's just return this. So I feel we should return the updated data. So in most times people do updated data. So they do this return response this then we have this, we have data updated data, then it went well, so we just have a 201 status error code. So we have this as a status code. So instead of 201 is for created, so let's just leave it with 200. So we do this. So data is true. Oh, so this is boolean. So this is true or false. So instead of the updated data, we just say record updated. So we have this. So let's check our database for this. So it has updated. So basically we can create, we can look up a single, we can look up for all, and we can, what did we do last time? We can update. So let's check delete. Let's look at delete. So let's look at delete now. So delete is one of the good feature we can do too. So let's check. Let's go to API. So let's just duplicate this. Let's make this a delete. So post, then same of the same format. Then we'll just call the destroy method on it. So we'll come here. So destroy. So all it has to do is just get the post, then delete it. So that's fine. So from there we can just return the response that record deleted, then 200. So let's say we want to delete the fourth one. So let's change this to a delete request, and poof, record deleted. So if we come back here and check all the posts, so we have just 3, not 4 again. So if I come here and I reload, it's gone. So don't mind me. I'm used to saying so much, but I know you get used to it. So I just said so again. I can't help it for now. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we can actually perform a full quad functionality. We can create, retrieve, update, and delete a particular record. But okay, I don't know if most of us already know how to implement soft delete, but I believe, let me just take you through how you can do soft delete. So soft delete, instead of deleting the record totally, so we can delete it softly as the word says. So and we can restore it back. So for this, it's gone and it's gone. which is very dangerous. So for us to implement sub delete, so we have to go to the model, which is post. We're dealing with the post model. So one of the things we're going to, the traits we're going to use are, we're going to use soft delete. So please take note, I use soft delete and it got imported here. Please take note. So we have this. So we have to go to the migration. So we're going to say PHP artisan. Want to make a new migration. Make migration. So add deleted at post. So the table is post table. So I think this should be fine. So we have this. So one of the things we want to do is just want to add the deleted at column on that. So we have sub delete. So we have this. So we'll put it here. So we can now say what do I just do? Table. Then I feel we should put up column, right? Is this right? Oops. Anyways, so basically what you want to do is, in this place you want to drop column. So let's go ahead and run migration, and some migrate. So we have this. So if we go to our database here, then we refresh, we have this deleted at column. So let's try to delete the third post now. Let's post one. So we have this. So let's try to delete the third post. So it's telling us record deleted, right? But if we come here and we have this, so it's still in our database, but it has already been sub deleted. But go if we come here, if we come to what's the name of this place? So if we come here to look up for all the posts, it's not going to be there. We just have 1 and 2. But what if we want to retrieve, let's retrieve this. So for us to retrieve this, so this is actually out of the scope of this course, but I just feel it will be very very good. So we're going to make a post request to that one, the post, then let's call it restore. So let's go to the so we're going to close this. Let's go to this. Let's duplicate this. For now, call it restore. Oops. Let's call it restore. So we're just going to call the restore method on it. Then we'll just say record restored. Pretty simple, right? So let's try restoring. Oops. So let's make a post. Oops. So when we make a post, that will be wrong. Let's come here. So let's make it different. So let's call it restore slash post, then this, or let's just remove the post, then restore this. So we have, so you can actually say restore, then we're changing it to a post request, then we have this. So it says 404 not found, API restore. Okay, 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 it's saying not found. Okay, so what we're gonna do is this. Let's come to the API So we're going to pass the ID. Then we come here, let's receive the ID. Then we're going to look for the ID. Remember, it has been deleted. Remember, the post has been deleted, so we don't have access to the post. So calling the restore method on the post will give us an error. So what we're going to do is this. So we're going to say post. So sorry about that. So we're going to do post with trashed. So there is a with trashed static. There's a static with trashed method. Sorry about the English there. So this only works, or this will work when we use soft delete. So it has been deleted, it has been trashed. So it means search the entire table, look for this ID. So be it deleted or not. So without this with trashed method here, it will not find the ID. So we're saying, okay, with trashed, being deleted or not, find the ID. Then if you have it, let's call it post. Let's call it post. I hope it doesn't. Okay, so let's call it this post. Okay, let's call it data. Right. So we're going to restore data now. So we'll call on the restore method, then it does this. So let's check if this works. So we do this. So we see data restored. So one of the ways in which we can check that is this. So the deleted is gone. So I can come back here. Oops. I'll come back here. Let's say, okay, I want to delete. So that's in this should be post. I want to delete post number 1. So it's telling me, I think it's post record deleted. So if I come here, deleted. So let's restore. Let's restore a post. Restore. Then let's restore the first one, telling us record restored. So coming here, it has gone. So there is also a way we can force delete. So we can delete it from the table permanently, like the previous delete will work. So I'll leave you on your own to find out that. So if you have any question, you can post the question on the comment section. I'll be very glad to answer the questions. And don't forget that this video is sponsored by FFX Academy, where you can become a full stack developer in just 10 weeks, in just 12 weeks. So thank you for having me. So as I said earlier, or I don't know if I said it, this is actually my first video, so you pardon some of my mistakes and some of the errors, a little bit of errors in it. So you're just gonna pardon me, and my word, as I said, so this brings us to the end of this video. So we've been able to use the API resource, so we can add additional content using the with method and all that. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you. See you next time.